You are 18 years old when gambling first stops feeling like a game. It happens inside a noisy casino attached to a highway hotel 2 hours outside your city. You only came because your friends wanted somewhere exciting after graduation. The air smells artificial, cold air conditioning, cheap perfume, alcohol, carpet cleaner. Lights flash constantly, even though it's already midnight. The casino has no clocks, no windows. That is intentional, because casinos are designed to disconnect people from time first. Money comes second. You sit at a blackjack table, mostly as a joke. You barely understand the rules. $20 buy-in. That's all you planned to lose. The dealer flips cards mechanically, while smiling in the emotionally empty way casino employees learn to smile. Your friends stand behind you, laughing. Then something strange happens. You win. Not a huge amount. 3 hands in a row. Then 5. Then 8. Your $20 becomes $482 in under an hour. The stack of chips in front of you suddenly feels unreal. Easy. Like the universe accidentally opened a secret door normal people never discover. Your heart pounds harder with every hand. Not because of the money itself, because of possibility. Possibility is the real addiction. You leave the casino at 3:17 a.m. feeling invincible. Your friends keep repeating how lucky you are. You replay every moment in your head during the drive home. The cards, the sounds, the rush. You calculate what would have happened if you had bet bigger. That thought becomes important later. Over the next few weeks, you start watching gambling videos online. Poker strategy, sports betting, blackjack systems. You tell yourself you are learning a skill, not developing a problem. There's a psychological difference, at least in the beginning. You return to the casino alone a month later. That changes everything. Because gambling with friends feels social, gambling alone feels personal. Now there's silence around your decisions. No distractions. Just you versus chance. You lose $200 in 40 minutes, then win $300 back, then lose it again. The emotional swings hit harder than the actual financial loss. You drive home emotionally exhausted, but mentally obsessed. Your brain keeps replaying one thought. If I had left earlier, I would have been up. That sentence becomes the foundation of gambling addiction. Because gamblers rarely believe they lost, they believe they almost won. And almost is one of the most dangerous words in the human brain. By 19, gambling becomes routine. Friday nights, sports bets during work breaks, casino apps before sleep. You still pay your bills, still function normally, still tell yourself you are in control. And technically, you are. For now. Level 2. At 22, gambling becomes part of your identity. You stop describing bets emotionally. Now you describe them analytically, statistics, odds, percentages, expected value. You convince yourself this makes it rational, professional, different from the people losing rent money at slot machines. But casinos love intelligent gamblers. Because intelligent gamblers believe they can beat systems designed by mathematicians, you begin betting on sports daily now. NBA games, European soccer, tennis matches in countries you've never visited. Your phone becomes an emotional detonator. One notification can ruin your entire day, or elevate it instantly. You wake up checking odds before checking messages from family. That's when priorities begin shifting. Not dramatically, quietly. You now make around $63,000 annually at your office job, but emotionally, your paycheck feels less important than your bets, because salaries feel slow, predictable. Gambling feels alive. One Sunday afternoon, you turn $500 into $11,400 through a series of perfect football bets. That moment permanently damages your brain's understanding of money, because after winning 5 figures in 6 hours, normal work starts feeling psychologically smaller. You begin calculating time differently. 8 hours at work earns less than 1 lucky weekend. That comparison poisons ambition. Your girlfriend notices changes first. You stop listening during conversations because games are playing silently on your phone beneath the table. You disappear emotionally after losses, become euphoric after wins. Your moods stop reflecting life. They start reflecting outcomes. One evening she asks, "Are you even here anymore?" You answer too quickly, "I'm fine." But you already know the truth. You aren't gambling for money anymore. You are gambling to regulate emotion. And once gambling becomes emotional medicine, it stops behaving like entertainment. By 23, you are betting during lunch breaks at work, inside bathrooms, at family dinners, at red lights. Not because you need to, because your brain now craves uncertainty constantly. Wins feel incredible, losses feel unbearable. But strangely, not betting feels worst of all, because silence gives your mind room to think, and gamblers eventually structure their entire lives around avoiding that silence. Level 3. At 26, casinos recognize you by name. That should concern you. Instead, it flatters you. Valet attendants greet you personally. Cocktail waitresses remember your drink. Hosts offer complimentary suites and free dinners. You feel important, valuable. Casinos understand something most industries do not. People become loyal fastest when they are losing while occasionally feeling special. You now gamble 4 or 5 nights weekly, mostly poker, sometimes baccarat, occasionally blackjack during emotional losing streaks. Your annual income remains around $70,000, but your gambling volume exceeds $600,000 yearly. Not profit, volume. Money constantly circulating through your hands before disappearing again. You stop tracking losses honestly. Gamblers develop strange accounting systems. Wins feel real. Losses feel temporary, recoverable. One bad weekend changes everything. You lose $18,000 in 36 hours. Most of your savings, part of your retirement account. You tell yourself the losses are statistically abnormal. You can recover them. You just need one good run. That phrase destroys people financially every day across the world because casinos are built specifically around chasing behavior. They know losing increases emotional desperation, and emotional desperation creates irrational decisions. You begin borrowing money, at first subtly. Credit cards, cash advances, personal loans, nothing dramatic externally. You still dress professionally, still attend work, still laugh at social events. But internally, your entire life starts revolving around recovery calculations. How much you owe, how quickly you can win it back, which games offer the best odds. Your thoughts stop sounding like thoughts. They start sounding like spreadsheets. One night, at 4:11 a.m., after losing another $6,000, you sit alone inside the casino parking garage, staring at your reflection in the windshield. You look exhausted, older, not because of age, because constant uncertainty erodes people psychologically. That's when you first realize gambling doesn't merely take money, it consumes attention, and attention is life itself. Level 4. At 31, you enter the world of serious gambling. Private rooms, 6-figure tables, exclusive casino hosts. Your appearance changes now. Tailored suits, luxury watches, first-class flights to Vegas and Macau. From the outside, your life appears wildly successful. Nobody sees the debt underneath it. That's the dangerous thing about gambling addiction at higher levels. The aesthetics improve while the damage worsens. You now gamble with investors occasionally, friends who believe you possess unusual instincts. You encourage that illusion because it protects your ego, and gamblers protect ego more aggressively than money. Your biggest single night win reaches $240,000. Your biggest loss, $417,000. Both feel emotionally identical after enough time passes. That realization terrifies you, because numbers once capable of changing your life now barely register emotionally. Your nervous system has adapted to extremes. Normal life feels emotionally muted. Relationships continue collapsing. Your parents stop asking questions because they are afraid of the answers. Romantic partners leave after discovering hidden debt, lies, or emotional distance. You promise change repeatedly, sometimes sincerely. But gambling addiction creates a unique psychological trap. The thing destroying your future also feels like the only thing capable of fixing it. You begin spending more time inside casinos than outside them. No windows, no clocks, no emotional accountability. Just endless possibility. One night in Macau, you sit inside a private baccarat room beside a billionaire from Singapore and a crypto investor from Dubai. Millions of dollars move across the table casually. Nobody smiles. That surprises you most. At lower levels, gambling feels exciting. At high levels, it feels mechanical, cold. People here are not chasing money anymore. They are chasing emotional stimulation strong enough to penetrate numbness, and numbness becomes the defining emotional state of long-term gamblers. Not excitement, not greed, numbness, because eventually even winning stops feeling like winning. It only feels like temporary relief. Level 5. The collapse begins invisibly. Missed payments, ignored calls, sleep problems, mood swings. Your gambling now exceeds all available money sources, so you start inventing new ones, selling investments, borrowing secretly, lying professionally. You once believed gamblers looked irresponsible, desperate, obvious. Instead, addiction makes people perform normalcy harder. You become frighteningly good at pretending. By 34, your total debt exceeds $890,000. You owe banks, friends, casinos, private lenders. Different people begin contacting you with different levels of politeness. The polite ones scare you least. One afternoon, your bank account hits negative $87. That number emotionally devastates you more than losing hundreds of thousands ever did. Because huge losses felt abstract. Negative $87 feels real, physical, pathetic. You return to gambling that same night, not because you think it's smart, because addicts eventually stop asking whether behavior makes sense. They only ask whether it temporarily removes pain. You lose again, and again, and again. At 5:42 a.m., sitting alone beneath flashing slot machine lights, you finally understand the central horror of gambling addiction. The casino never needed to beat you. It only needed to keep you playing long enough for you to beat yourself. That realization arrives too late. Your apartment gets repossessed months later. Your car disappears next. People stop calling, not out of cruelty, out of exhaustion. Addiction exhausts everyone nearby, especially the people trying to save you. Eventually, there's nobody left to disappoint, except yourself. And somehow, that hurts worst. Level 6. At 36, you enter treatment after attempting to gamble away your final remaining credit line inside an airport casino at 7:13 in the morning. You haven't slept properly in 4 days. Your hands shake constantly now, not from substances, from stress. The rehabilitation center feels painfully ordinary. Plain walls, group therapy chairs, coffee machines, silence. You hate the silence immediately, because gambling addicts fear silence more than losses. Silence allows memory to return. During therapy, people describe losing homes, marriages, businesses, entire decades. You recognize yourself in every story that terrifies you, because addiction spent years convincing you your situation was unique, special, temporary. It wasn't. One therapist says something you never forget. Gamblers aren't addicted to winning, they're addicted to hoping. That sentence breaks something open inside you, because hope became your drug. Every bet represented emotional escape, a fantasy that tomorrow could erase yesterday. You slowly begin rebuilding routines, exercise, sleep, conversations without checking scores, meals without betting apps. At first, normal life feels unbearably dull. Then gradually, it begins feeling peaceful. There's a difference. Peace feels unfamiliar to gamblers because uncertainty trained your nervous system for chaos. Recovery means learning boredom again. And boredom turns out to be healthier than adrenaline. Months later, you attend a support meeting where someone asks how long you gambled. You answer, almost 18 years. The room goes quiet briefly. Not judging, just understanding. Because addiction rarely destroys people quickly. It destroys them patiently. Level 7. At 43, you still think about gambling sometimes. That part never fully disappears. Airports trigger memories. Casino commercials trigger memories. Sports broadcasts trigger memories. But now the thoughts pass differently. Without urgency, without hunger. You work a quieter job now. Nothing glamorous. Nothing exciting. And for the first time in your adult life, that feels safe instead of disappointing. Your finances recover slowly. Relationships recover slower. Some never recover at all. Your father eventually trusts you enough to lend you his car again. That moment means more than any jackpot ever did, because trust takes longer to rebuild than money. One evening you walk through a casino while attending a business convention at the same hotel where you once lost almost everything. The sounds hit instantly. Slot machines, cards shuffling, electronic music, artificial excitement. For a brief second, your brain remembers the rush. Then you notice something else. The faces. Exhausted people chasing invisible futures beneath bright lights. People believing the next hand changes everything. You recognize that expression because you wore it for years. You stand there quietly for a long moment before walking away. Not dramatically, not heroically, just calmly. And as the casino disappears behind you, you finally understand the truth gambling spent decades hiding. The real victory was never winning. It was leaving.